Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you're having a great day today. Thanks for joining us today for our videos. Today we're going to talk about government leaders, and then we're also going to be talking about summarizing. Move that back a little. Okay, so when you summarize something, one way to understand important ideas in an informational text is to summarize or tell the most important ideas in your own words. So when readers put an author's idea in their own words, they paraphrase it or make it shorter. Good readers pause as they read to identify the important ideas and paraphrase sections of a text to understand it better. Okay, so as you read, you can stop, and after finishing each section, just ask yourself what you learned. After finishing, you can put all the important ideas together to summarize what you learned. Today, we're going to be reading an informational text. It's a nonfiction text, and it has captions with photos, has main ideas and details, and headings that stand out. Okay, so before we read it together, what do you see in this photograph? Okay, yeah, you're right. All kinds of people. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, okay? Let's go to the first picture, and it says the leaders help guide the scouts in his troop. So if you're a Boy Scouts, you might have a troop leader, or if you're in Girl Scouts, you might have a Girl Scout leader. Government leaders write rules for us to follow. So who is a leader? A leader is a person who is in charge of a group of people. Leaders try to help their groups and solve problems. Leaders try to work together and are good listeners too. Some leaders work in government. Government leaders help make the rules. They make rules for our country, our state, and our city. Okay, so let's go down here. I'm going to move myself over here, and we're going to look at this picture. Our country's leaders work in Washington, D.C. The president leads our country, and members of Congress make the laws for our country. The president and the Congress work together. So this is the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. So why do you think the author included photos of the Capitol building? The Capitol building is a place where rules are made, so that's why the author put the picture of the Capitol building in. Okay? Most governors are chosen every 4 years. Our governor is Governor Holcomb. Okay, so state leaders work in the state capital city. People in each state choose a governor. The governor leads the state. The governor works with legislators who make laws for the state. So our governor, Governor Holcomb, lives in Indianapolis. We've been seeing him a lot on TV because he talks about COVID and things like that. So I'm sure you probably have seen him before. City leaders, a mayor is the leader of the city's government. The mayor works with the city council. So citizens choose council members. So our mayor is Mayor Hogsett. That's the mayor of Indianapolis. And so state leaders and city leaders are different because the governor makes rules up for the whole state of Indiana. But the city mayor, he makes up rules for just the city, Indianapolis, for us. Good leaders make our country a better place to live. Okay, so today our objective is to summarize sections of text by writing the important ideas in our own words, because that'll help us understand the topic. Okay, let's go to the next one. How are we going to be successful? We'll be successful by thinking what are the important ideas and then write them down in your own words. Okay, so let's look at this first page right here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to take myself out of the picture so that you can see the whole thing. So let me get myself out of there. Okay, there we go. Okay, it says, what did you learn? So I'm going to write and underline some important things that I learned. I'm going to make my things smaller, my pencil smaller. And I learned a leader is a person who's in charge of a group of people. So I might underline that. Leaders help people. Leaders try to help groups of people to solve problems, and they listen. Okay, leaders listen. Some leaders work in government. Government leaders make the rules for the state, country, for a country, state, and city. So over here, I'm going to push text. I'm going to type what I want to write. Okay, so what I'm going to type is, what I learned that leaders are in charge of people. And I also learned good leaders listen and try to solve problems. And government leaders make rules. So when you're doing your Pear Deck and you have to type something in, if you just want to write one or two things in, that's fine. You don't have to put all the things that I wrote for mine, but I just want to give you a good example. So one or two things is fine for your Pear Deck, okay? So now here's the next thing. I'm going to use a pencil to underline this stuff. It says, our country leaders work in Washington, D.C. Oh, I didn't know that. Our country leaders work in, so I'm going to underline that. The president leads our country. I did know that. And then members of Congress make laws for our country. I didn't know that. So I'm going to underline that. And the president and the Congress work together. Okay. So what did I learn? So I learned that our country's leaders are in Washington, D.C. That's one thing I learned. And then I learned members of Congress. I'm going to go back there and make that members of Congress make laws for our country. Okay? So that's two things I learned when I read that page. All right? There's one more thing I'm going to get our pencil and my pencil up here, and I'm going to say state leaders work in the state's capital city. Okay, so I'm going to underline that because I just learned that. People in each state choose a governor. Okay, I learned that the governor leads the state, and the governor works with legislators. Okay, so I'm going to go up here now, and I'm going to write what I learned. Okay, so I learned, let me put my text back up there. I learned that state leaders work in the state's capital. Okay, I learned that the governor leads the state, and the governor works with legislators. I don't know what's wrong. It's not spelling it right, but it won't go. That's okay. Legislators, okay? To make laws. So you wouldn't have to write all this stuff. You just need to write down a couple ideas that would help you to understand what you learned in each passage, okay? So you're just going to write them in your own words. So today, when you have, today you're going to have a you do. Some of you are going to just circle the answer, and some of you are going to write the answer. So just use your tools to help yourself. Okay, you're going to read this page. It says, the mayor is the leader of the city's government. The mayor works with the city council. So you have to tell me what you learned from that. Okay? So, what are the 3 important ideas you learned in this text today? Okay, so you have to think about the three things that you learned that were important to you. Okay, and then how do good leaders make our country, state, and city a better place to live? I want you to think about that question too. Okay, so go ahead and do your Pear Deck now. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for working so hard. I'll see you tomorrow.